Thank you so much, Peter. Fantastic. Everybody stuck to time and then I get up. I'll be quick, I promise. What I want to cover really is the rationale for all of us and why we're here today. Really quickly, the approach and going back in time to 2005 to where we've got to here in 2023. The overview to our North East system working with advocacy at the heart, and then the importance of the Ps. I am very full of cold, so do apologise. I genuinely haven't smoked 20 cigarettes before I got on this stage, but I sound very croaky. The rationale for why we're here is this.
The day I found out I had mouth cancer, I was really shocked. I'd never even heard of mouth cancer.
I was about 12 years old, and that's when I came home and my mum sat me down and she said, "Look, David, I've got mouth cancer. I'm going to have an operation." I just remember the C word, that I just fell apart because you just expect the worst every time, don't you? So they took a big chunk of the roof of her mouth out, and she had an obturator that she had to put in after that. When she first put it in, it was so hard for her to get used to. She couldn't talk properly, but we had a long, hard battle after that, and we got through it together. It was quite a hard time for me. All she wanted to do in her life was to help people. If she could help just one person quit smoking, it would make her so happy. The fact that she got to do the campaign and raise that much awareness was just absolutely unreal. And the amount of support that I've received since, and the amount of support that she got from, she's told me about messages that she's got from people all around the world who have said they've quit smoking after watching her ad, and it was very powerful. And I think it made an impact with a lot of people. I was so proud of her, I really am. Obviously now that's just passed away, I'm the only one left to continue her legacy, and I think it would make her extremely proud if I could make one more person quit, or if I could be an inspiration to someone else who was thinking about quitting, because it's possible, it really is. Just before my mum passed away, the last conversation I had with her on FaceTime was actually me with a vape saying, "Oh, look, Mum, I've quit smoking." So I've been off the cigarettes now since 2020. She died knowing that I quit, so that makes me happy. It's been a motivator for me to continue to not smoke. Well done, Mum. She makes me so proud.
So our huge thanks to Maggie Bratton and her family and all of the people who have been part of this legacy, because this isn't about numbers, it's about people, because behind every number there is a person with their family. But when I say it's not about numbers, the next slide is, and I just want to go back in time. So we've had really brilliant overview from Sir Liam and from Neil in terms of the current smoking rates. But this is how bad it was not that long ago. And some of you who have been around since the outset will recognise that back in the day we had many, many more local authorities than we have now. I think we had 24 and then it's gone down to 12. But if you look at the difference across the region, so this is 2005. And in 2005 we were well higher than the national average. Our smoking rates were 29%, England was 24%. But if we think about our highest localities, Middlesbrough, South Tyneside, Gateshead, 35% smoking rates. And I think this is really useful to show this context because of how far we have actually come. So yes, we have come a long way. And just for those of you who might not be quite aware of some of the background to all of this and why we're here today, we exist because of failure. And by that, this is failure, which was the best thing that ever happened in a sense, which was the inspiration of Peter, Eugene, many, many others who actually put a bid in to say, we're going to be like California. We're going to set up a regional tobacco control program. We're going to have a regional tobacco control office. The bid itself actually didn't succeed, but however, what it did was galvanize so much energy and appetite. And as a result of that, the program got off the ground, and we had our very first case for a smoke-free Northeast in December 2004. I was there, I was back from maternity leave. It was just, I look back on it now, and we learned from so many others around the world, including Liverpool, who at the time, and Cillian will remember very well, were trailblazing on a private member's bill around smoke-free legislation. But ultimately, what this resulted in was, after 2 years and galvanising everybody's support, the launch of the Northeast Tobacco Control Programme, which was on World No Tobacco Day 2005. And when I dug out the agenda, it's so interesting. It was about national to regional to local and everybody working together. The approach taken is absolutely evidence-based. We're very fortunate that we have such a clear evidence base from the leadership of the Royal College of Physicians back in 1962. It is about recognising we need to work from that international to local level. That, from a fresh perspective, it was very much around population level working, as opposed to simply targeting individuals. I am the biggest champion, and I always will be, for stop smoking services. But in the early days of the 2000s, we spent a huge amount of time, and it was the right thing to do to get the best stop smoking services off the ground. But they're not designed to drive down smoking prevalence. Thus why our smoking rates didn't go down, because they were never designed to do that as such. It doesn't mean that they're not exceptionally important, exceptionally good value for money. They absolutely are. But what we've been concentrating upon is shifting the societal norms, the importance of making tobacco use, the industry, less attractive, affordable, accessible. But absolutely, that partnership and collaboration is key, with a very clear vision. I think we were quite visionary from the very, very outset. And I know sometimes people thought we've always tried to be not too far ahead of the public, but deep down, because of the amount of international collaboration things we were doing, certainly we as Fresh said one day smoking will end. And this sense of distributed leadership. And I think sometimes, I make no apologies, many of you in this room will be very familiar with our 8 key strands, but what I want to really reinforce is you don't reinvent the wheel. We know what needs to be done. We need to keep doing many of these things. We do need to innovate at times, but actually the cornerstone for a lot of this is exactly the same now as it was 20 years ago, which is media campaigns, it's advocacy, it's legislation, etc., etc. And it's recognising that you need to keep doing them, and there is no one magic solution. And, you just need to know that you're in this for the hard graft. This is, about taking a 20-year commitment to things. These problems aren't solved overnight. But the principles of our approach have stood the test of time. And this, again, I'm going back to 2005, and it's things like, and Cillian was pivotal in his role around this, but we all knew we needed comprehensive smoke-free legislation. This was Tony Blair in his local pub in Trimdon actually getting a Clean Air Award, which was when places actually were deciding to go smoke-free themselves. But we absolutely, the evidence was so clear. Breathing secondhand smoke kills 3 times more workers than accidents in the workplace. The legislation we were going to inherit was not good enough for our region. It would have meant that many of our most deprived communities would have been exempt, their pubs, their clubs and things, because they didn't serve food. We were very bold. We were very clear. We told the government they weren't listening. We told them they needed to do what our communities needed. And I'll never forget that very rainy day on the 1st of July 2007, the day England went smoke-free. We hosted a celebratory lunch. It was wonderful because Breathe Easy people came from across the region for the first time in many years to the pub because they could enjoy a smoke-free lunch, and that was what that was about. And this approach is what stood us the test of time. And our advocacy is around setting very clear objectives. Deborah's going to talk about this next. But our very clear ask now around funding for a plan, working collaboratively, framing the debate, as Peter says, it's as much around economic recovery as it is about patients in beds. It's building the evidence, the case for it. It's developing political champions. And I'm thrilled the Vice Chair of the APPG on Smoking or Health, Mary Foy, is speaking this afternoon. It's showing the votes. This is so publicly popular. It's the power of real people. Their voices are crucial, and it's finding the right levers. So multiple messengers are so incredibly important, whether it's a retired retailer, our wonderful Ruth, our clinical lead, our ICS chief executive, alongside the chief exec of the North East Chamber of Commerce. North East Chamber, that's what we need, a North East Chamber of Commons. Yeah. Sorry. The leadership of our directors of public health, and really importantly, most importantly of all, the leadership and our passionate cancer survivors who will be here from this afternoon, who were at number 10 just 2 weeks ago. We've seen this, and what I just wanted to say, this is the smoking rates overall. But you know, big question is we'll never ever know what this would have looked like had we not had this locally together approach of all of us working together as best as we can. We stick out like a sore thumb, the North East, on so many things, don't we? But I'm really proud that we have absolutely narrowed that gap, and we have had the biggest drop of any region in England during this period. So my reflections of the importance of the P's. When we think of the P's, we think of price, promotion, packaging, place and product, and they are incredibly important. But I was thinking about some new P's for today. And the first one I thought about was purpose. From the beginning, we said we were focused on tobacco harms, to end the death and disease. We recognised how lethal cigarettes were, people smoking for the nicotine, but dying from the thousands and thousands of toxic chemicals. We also committed to keeping on top of research and the evidence base, and that the programme would need to evolve. Partnership. We said smoking needed to be everyone's business, and it could not just be down to a small team, but there was a need to have as much partnership working across localities, within localities, from local to regional to pan-regional, hello Scott, from Yorkshire and Humber, to national and international. This is as vital now. We also know it's not just about health, but many other vital partners. Working with civil society, or NGOs, as Liam likes to call the likes of the phenomenal Ash, has been absolutely crucial. And the role of academics like Robert, Sharon, Anne here today, who get the importance of their research and has worked as a team with people like us. Our principles have been really clear. We're objective, we're independent, we're the expertise, responsive, pioneering, professional, transparent, really great value for money tobacco control, I have to say, collaborative. But we've also been honest when we don't know the answer to something and we need to find out more. And we're also willing to change our positions on things too when more evidence comes to light. For politics, this means building up so much public and stakeholder support over the years so that our politicians, no matter what their political colour is, knows why this is such an important issue for their constituencies, their vote winners. But persistence. We've had many ups and downs over the years, whether that has been through changes in government and shifts in policies, promises of things that don't come to fruition, reorganisation of the key architecture around us. I actually think we've probably been the most stable rock in the middle of all of this over the last 18 years. The challenges of funding and the pressures to local partners through cuts. But we've persisted and we've stuck it out. And we have so much gratitude to those of you who have ensured that a regional tobacco programme still exists, the only place in the country that has managed to stay throughout all of this. The passion. There's something about people who work in tobacco control when they work in this field because they have seen firsthand the dreadful impact of tobacco, whether to a loved one or during their work as a nurse, like Clive's sister, doctor, carer. For those that say, aren't you bored now? Or isn't there more important things to focus on? We know that smoking will continue to be our key driver of health inequalities, a huge social justice issue. And our shared passion to prevent this, knowing we have the support of so many smokers, will drive us on. That's not to say there aren't other really hugely important issues for this region. And as Director of Balance as well, I will also say alcohol is absolutely one of them. People. We're so lucky to have worked with so many truly inspiring people over so many years. The Fresh Balance team is like one small family of the most incredible hard-working folk you could ever work with. But everyone in the room today, those who couldn't be here, all the key partners presented, our feisty survivors who are at the heart of everything we do, the phenomenal leadership of many over so many years. But the most important people of all are our friends, our parents, our children, those we have lost, but hopefully all the millions who won't have to suffer what others have if we can eradicate smoking once and for all. Everyone matters. Unborn, young, old. There is so much in this world we might increasingly feel we have no control over. But based on what this region has done so far, we think we can now do even better. And with all your help, One day, we will have made smoking history, and the sooner this happens, the better. Thank you to everyone.